Check this out, Sharon. I'm diving straight into my memories of, what would you call it? Like Berklee Frenzia. Is a Frenzia? Is that a thing? Frenzia? Yeah. I don't know. I had a Berklee Frenzy. And and a couple of my friends did as well, right? Where like Berklee, because this was before the internet. This was
this like early 90s?
Let me have a look on this magazine.
Or like mid 90s?
It doesn't have a date on the magazine. Does anybody watching this know when this magazine, Bass Player with Phil Lesh on the front, when did this come out? Because there is an article from about Berklee, in it. And some of the people that you know, by the way, if anybody's watching this, Sharon went to Berklee, obviously I didn't, just for context. And we thought it'd be fun and I've got ChatGPT involved in this as well, but which I think is going to be cool because it's organised some wicked questions. But as a like young bass player, I used to like look at this article and kind of like, I'm sure there'll be like drool marks on this page somewhere. I can be like looking at, if I could only go to Berklee. And actually this one here was written by Chris Jeezy. Shout out to Chris. And it's got this, I'll send you some pictures actually so you can possibly sort of like have a look at these yourself. Right, so it's got Bruce Gertz in there. It's got, who else is in there? Oscar Stagnaro.
Yeah.
Anthony Viti's in there. And then there's some cool pictures from students as well. In fact, right here, that, I believe, is really young Tony Gray when he was in Berklee.
So it is 90s.
Yeah, I think it is 90s. Yeah, I just don't know when. Maybe like mid-90s. Hang on, I can maybe work this out. That'd help, wouldn't it? So I was born in 78, 88. Yeah. Like. Yeah. Yeah.
I know people who went to Berklee with him around that time. So that
well, I think that, I don't know, like this magazine also had a picture of Yannick in there as well. Because I think he was either in Tony's year or like the year above or below or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was in this magazine as well. So anyway, and this is before I knew these guys, and I kind of like used to stare at these articles about Berklee and kind of dream if I could only go to Berklee. And ultimately, I couldn't even get in Leeds College of Music. There's a whole story about that. So I didn't end up going to Berklee, but we thought it'd be a cool, because obviously like Berklee College of Music is like one of the like marquee music schools in the world. So just before we were a couple of days ago, I messaged Sharon. I was like, can I interview you about Berklee and what it was like going and all of because I've never really, like the only person I spoke to about it in depth was Tony Gray, actually. Like Bass Space a couple of years ago, and he had a wild experience. Wild experience, yeah. Not a great one. Nothing to do with the school, actually. It was
interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't to do with the school. It was well, I'm actually he emailed me a couple of days ago, so I'm going to get him on, and we're going to have like a full lowdown of his experience and what that was like. And just to give people a sort of like a glimpse into it, he was or is John McLaughlin's nephew. So the great jazz guitar player, one of the greatest jazz guitar players ever, John McLaughlin, is his uncle. So, and that comes with a certain amount of pressure. And that kind of played into Tony's.
Man, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that played into Tony's, and to even make things kind of even more of a pressure cooker. He broke his back. He broke his back before he went to Berklee, and that's kind of how he actually ended up going to Berklee. Again, I'm not going to go too much into the story, and then while he was in hospital, John turned up at the hospital with a bass. Gave him the bass, and then he started to learn it in hospital, and then ultimately just a little while after that ended up going to Berklee.
He started really late?
Super late, yeah.
How is he not good? That's not fair.
Yeah, I know, he's really good, isn't he? Yeah, he's super cool. Shall I show people Tony? I've got this great clip of Tony. Let me just pull it up in here.
Did you know Tony was my inspiration to really start digging into a 6-string bass?
No way. Because he played one?
Yeah.
This made me want a Federa.
Oh, same, man.
Oh.
This is my childhood, Scott.
Oh, it's so good. That's the sound as well. Like, remember that sound that everybody had? Oh.
Yeah.
Ah. Yeah, and then he just like rips it. He rips it. He's a killer.
Such an insane player.
I think he'd only been playing at this point, by the way, like a few years.
What the hell? I feel like I still don't do that. That's absurd.
Maybe it's the genes or whatever. Maybe it's them John
Yeah, it has
McLaughlin
to
genes
be.
that he's got. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think that because he that trio got together with Hiromi in Berklee, and then off the back of that, obviously, so I don't know, maybe if he was at Berklee, maybe like for 3 years or something, like maybe he'd been playing bass for like 4 or 5 years at this point. Oh, outrageous. Anyway, right, here we go. Berklee, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is what I asked ChatGPT before. So I'm interviewing a friend, an ex-Berklee College of Music graduate today. I'm going to call the podcast interview Berklee College of Music, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then I asked ChatGPT to organize some questions for me. So I haven't looked at any of these questions, like just legit. I haven't looked at them all. So these are also going to be surprising for me. But it has categorized them into the good, the bad, and the ugly. And fourth one as well, fun and controversial. Your choice. Where do you want to go first?
Oh, God, this is like Family Feud, and I have to pick like the. Oh God. Let's go. Let's start with good.
Okay, the good.
Just so that Berklee doesn't cut me off of their.
I was going to say, because you're obviously friends with lots of people within Berklee and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that we keep them all happy. Anyway, so the good. So first question, what was the best part about attending Berklee College of Music? The best bit?
That is such an easy question. And I think this is probably the question you're going to get from like 90% of people that go to Berklee, but it's the community. I'd also say it's maybe at this point one of the only reasons to go to Berklee.
Is the community?
Yeah. Like the people you meet at Berklee are going to be fundamental. If you stay within the music scene for your career, fundamental to, you'll know somehow you know someone always in any situation because of Berklee.
And so do you think the community is more important than the educational aspect of it?
100%. I might go as far as to say that I probably learned more from my peers than from the actual institution. And I think they leave the space for that to happen because they know that that's the case.
Got
and
it.
that's really cool of them. Like they leave enough space for you to play, to go out there if you look for it. So yeah, definitely the community, the people, the connections, the network.
So and it's the playing as well, right? So the playing with the peers rather than the information that's going to be given to you in like a lecture or something like that. Although
it has like when you're talking Berklee, the 90s, back when my parents went, I think it was mid 80s. That's a completely different.
I was about to be like, I am not as old as your dad, Sharon.
No, they're
I
like
am
a
probably
decade before
near.
you.
How old's your dad?
No, you're like in between.
Oh, in
he's
between.
like 60. I think he's 65.
Oh,
You're good.
Years
good.
away. 2
The
decades.
previous generation.
Yeah.
Previous generation.
Yeah.
You're good.
Oh, yeah. So, that's really interesting as well. Just for context as well. Both Sharon's parents went to Berklee.
A lot of the family went to Berklee.
Yeah.
It's
And
disgusting.
her sister. Yeah.
And 2 cousins and an aunt.
You are kidding. Oh, my word.
A lot of musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very different Berklee. The one that is like pre-90, even pre-2000s.
Yeah.
And like I feel like 2005 onwards.
Very
that
different in
became
what
different.
way?
It became, I feel like, and I mean, you'd have to talk to someone who actually went back in that day, but it became very oversaturated.
Got it.
Berklee is gigantic now. It's hard to book practice rooms. It's hard to book studios. It's hard to book ensemble rooms because there's just more people than there is infrastructure. And they have a lot of infrastructure. They just have that many students. And then I think halfway through when I was there, or maybe pretty early on, 2015, 16, 17, they merged with Boston Conservatory. So it didn't
So it just
double
effectively
because-
got bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my graduating class was like maybe 1,200
Oh.
students. That's a lot of musicians to yearly leave a college. And I'm sure it's gone up since.
And how many of those
And
are
that
bass players?
Not that many.
3.
If the bass department... No. It is definitely probably in the
1,000 guitar
hundreds.
players.
Probably.
3 bass
Probably.
players. Yeah.
Probably I'd say like 30, 40 bass players. Maybe
Oh,
less.
it's still a lot in 1 year, though, isn't it?
Maybe I'm overblowing that number. I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
Question.
I'm going to jump back into these questions. Some of this you might have already answered. So if you have, just be like, next question, right? So next one, how did Berklee shape you as a musician?
I think it made me very judgmental for a while. And I had to shed that. And I also grew up in a Berklee household, so like I already came with a lot of judgment.
Oh, like, yeah,
But then-
judgment of other musicians and
Yeah,
sort of-
you're just there's
yeah,
just a certain
yeah.
like prestige, especially depending on which area you fall into at Berklee. Like obviously now, especially they have like a songwriting major and they have like a bunch of those things which are a lot more super contemporary pop music and stuff.
Yeah.
I was very much not in that. I was in the like fusion world bubble.
Yeah.
And it's very like, oh my god, dude, 13/8. Oh my god, dude. Oh man, let's do that in 11. Oh dude, have you ever played anything in 21? Oh, it's so badass.
So it's like time signatures and technique.
A lot of well, not even technique. Like nobody gives a shit about like bass technique as long as you can do the stuff.
Right,
and
okay, yeah.
You can keep up with like rhythms and stuff like that in that circle that I was in.
Got it.
So definitely it took a while to shed that like, oh my gosh, dude, is that like just basic
This guy can't play.
4 chords?
Played
like,
in
oh,
4/4.
that's
Loser.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what a loser.
Yeah. And I guess it's just a phase. It's like musical immaturity. You
I think it's-
learn,
yeah, I
you
think
get
it's
there,
age
and
as
it's
well,
just
yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're just like, I just want some space in the music. Just give me 4/4. Oh my God, just stay on one chord for 5 minutes.
Yeah, like there's a music college here called Leeds College of Music, and that like I hung out. I didn't go there, but I hung out with it like and lived in houses with a lot of the students from there, and there was
Yeah.
like full on like that was the vibe. It was just like, and these are like jazz circles, so it was like the jazz
Yeah.
police. Anything that wasn't
100%.
jazz was like shit. It's not jazz. Oh, like how dare you even play this in the house? Like what are you?
That was my dad, because my
Yeah.
dad was heavy jazz.
Well,
so
what I was
that
going to say
I
is, based off what you were saying, is I wonder if some of the tutors, like being in that environment with all of the kids being sort of, kind of at that, like not mature yet. I wonder if some of the adults also end up being kind of like, I don't want to use the word infected by it, but you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if
there's-
yeah.
we call them lovingly jazz holes.
Yeah.
And there's a few of them, but I will say, especially the bass department, there is basically nothing bad you can say about the bass department that I was at. And
Yeah.
like the one Steve Bailey kind of took and just
Shout out to
did
Steve,
his own thing with. Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to Steve. He made that department so badass that everyone at Berklee that I was with at the time, whether they were a bassist or not, everyone considered the bass department.
I'm still
the
fascinated
best
by what
department.
happened when Steve became chair of the bass department. It was wild. Suddenly,
It was
like
insane.
John Patitucci was there, Victor Wooten was there, like just this just massive list of like monster bass players. Steve
would
just
bring-
like Steve's the puppet master behind the scenes, you know, getting all of these incredible
is.
bassists in. Yeah.
It was insane. Like, you couldn't keep up with the amount of artists that he would bring in, and it's like, workshop at this point. I was like, no, but Steve, I have this class, and I can't. I've already skipped them. I skipped it 3 times because you keep bringing people, and I can't keep skipping it.
Were you there as Steve joined?
I was there. I don't know how much after, but he was already established. At
So
that
he
point.
was
Him
already, so
and
you didn't see
Sandro.
the before and after the transition as like, whoa, this guy comes
No,
in
I
and
just
sort
I
of,
got
yeah,
there and it was incredible.
yeah.
And I also worked in the bass department. Like, I was a work study, so I would like man the front desk.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd be like, "Who are you? You need to speak with Steve. Do you have an appointment? No, leave." Like that. That was like the vibe. So I
You were
got
like-
to know Steve and Sandro
Yeah.
and people in the bass department really well. Yeah, best place to be.
Very cool. Okay, next one. Let me just have a look at these. Oh yeah, this is a great one. Were there any Thanks, GPT. Were there any professors or mentors who had a profound impact on you? If
Oh,
so,
yeah, 100%.
who?
100%.
Give us the top 3.
So I had. Ooh, that's hard. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Okay, top 5.
I'm gonna. Yeah, that might be easier. For bass department specifically, I took most of my classes with Lincoln Goines, my Lord and Savior.
Yeah. Great
He's an
hairdo.
incredible person. Great. Oh God. Oh my God. Is that a thing? I just follow bald bassists around the world. Maybe that's what I
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
100%
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Lincoln Goines, incredible bassist, incredible sense of just music. Not a jazz hole. He can be, but like when he explains it, you're like, oh shit, he's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
he will like good music regardless of
Yeah.
what it is. So respect
Did
to
he?
him.
Did he like? Because obviously he's like a great electric player, well, and a pro player. But he's like, when I think about Lincoln Goines, the first thing that jumps out to me is like all of the stuff that, like the books that he wrote, the videos he did, like Funkifying the Clave, and then he
Yeah.
also did the stuff with Gino Vanelli, and then he also did like, you know, stuff with Michel Camilo. So it's all sort of like Latin based. Was he like, hey, there's this world that you might want to check out over here? Did he pull you down that direction at all, or not?
I knew him off of Michel Camilo albums. So
Yeah.
I was very knowingly kind of like, and I'm not huge on Latin jazz or Latin music in general. Like my brain does not quite figure it out. Although these days, a little bit better. Love Michel Camilo though.
Yeah.
Saw him live when I was like 12 playing in Switzerland with Michel Camilo. Like
outrageous.
saw
Yeah.
Lincoln. He did not force that on me. Occasionally he'd give me something, but he was, in general, he wouldn't force anything on me. But he was an ass, and which is perfect. Like most of Berklee tutors or professors are really nice, and that's not why I'm there.
You want to actually get your ass
There's a
kicked.
significant
Yeah,
amount
yeah.
of money going here. Kick my ass, kind of like. Because a lot
Yeah.
of people will just be, no matter what you do, you come in and they're like, great job, man, cool. He was not like that. If you come in and you're not prepared, he's like, why are we here?
Oh,
If you didn't
amazing.
practice, why are we even here? And I'm like, yes, thank you, Lincoln. I'm sorry. So that'd be really good. But he was
Yeah.
always really cool about it. Yeah, we're still very good friends.
Hey,
to this
Lincoln.
day. So Lincoln, big shout out to Chris Laughlin. Most incredible bassist and instructor. Again, same thing, no bullshit. You walk in, he will give you shit if you are not prepared for your lesson.
Really? Okay.
And just in general, like life things. Like, you need to get your shit together. Why do you look like this? This is not how you present your, like, just very good, like, adulting tips.
Yeah. Sort of shit
So
out.
those are the two instructors, bass instructors that I had a really, really, really incredible time with.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't really try any other instructors. I was just really happy with them, so I just
Yeah.
stuck with them.
Just to like double click into one thing you said as well, is that a friend of mine that went to a college in the city I live, and then he went and did a master's over in the Royal Northern in Manchester, and he said the stark difference between the two is that, and maybe this is like tutor dependent, but he said it was almost sort of like from a cultural perspective. The first one he went to, there was very much a student culture of, oh, give us the information. Like, we're here, just give us the information. And then when he went to the Royal Northern, which is more classical focused, but I don't think it's like that had anything to do with what I'm about to say. The culture there was like, what have you prepared for your lesson?
Yes.
Like, that was the culture. He was like, and it was a big difference. He said, because when you go into somebody and you need to turn up with your shit organized and you have prepared for the lesson, so it's very different from like rocking up to somebody like a little sparrow chick, in a nest chirping at its mother, like, feed me, give me the information. He said, and he resonated, as I imagine most people will, right? He got a lot more from that, the pressure of actually having to prepare for the lesson and get his shit ready for it.
100% like that. Like, those were just the instructors that I would seek out. I feel like you gain more from that. So I completely get that.
Yeah. Is there anybody else you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, there's two non-base department teachers that I will always think about. And they're still there. So if you are a Berklee student or a wannabe Berklee student, seek out Daniel Ian Smith in the Harmony department. He teaches all of the Harmony levels, I think MAT or Harmony 2 up until Harmony 4, and advanced Harmony classes, which I did not take because I struggled through Harmony 2 through 4. But he's one of the most incredible music instructors that I've ever met. He has like 200 different ways to teach you one thing. So if you don't understand it in this way, he'll be like, all right, what about this? What about this? Until you get it. And he'll take the time until you understand.
Yeah.
He's always available. He'll go for coffee with you. He's just an incredible teacher. And the other one is Joe Carrier in the like contemporary writing major or like area.
Yeah.
And he was teaching production, so big band and writing for strings and writing for large ensemble and all of that stuff. And he was hardcore. Like, if you gave him a bad project and it's like bad and you're in your advanced semesters, he'll be like, so in front of a class, like, you're playing your project, you're just like, cool. If it is shit, he will fully be like, why are you here, and are you sure music is the route for you, because that was shit.
Yeah.
At that point, you probably hate him, and obviously I did not have that experience with him, but I also really liked producing, so I did not have that problem. But it's scary being in his class, because it's just kind of a reality check of what's going to happen if you leave the bubble that is. Yeah.
I'm smiling because I like people. I like that.
Me too. I love those kind of people.
Yeah, I think most people do actually. I think that last one of the good. What unique opportunities did Berklee provide that you wouldn't have gotten elsewhere? Specifically Berklee, so not another music school. Like, what unique opportunity did Berklee provide that you wouldn't have got at another music school?
There's three things that the combination of it make Berklee unique. Number one, the bass department and all of the visiting artists that the bass department brings in. Number two, the facilities. The quality of recording studios that they have that you can just book as a student, depending on your major, obviously, are insane.
Got it. Yeah.
Like, absurd. A little bit, technically also not a good thing, because you get used to like that level, and then you go out in the real world and you have like a shitty setup.
Yeah.
And number three is, again, visiting artists, but not in context of the bass department, but the amount of artists that come through Berklee because of the name.
Yeah, I got it.
That you get to meet, that you get to go and watch shows with, is absurd. And occasionally you get to play with him.
Did you ever get to play with anybody really cool?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was part of or still am part of the non-Berklee faction of the Berklee Indian Ensemble.
Yeah.
We got to do loads of artist series things with them of names that in our channel might not be that big pulls because it's all just Indian superstar Bollywood singers and whatnot. And it's just, we didn't realize how big of a deal they were. And then they post stuff on YouTube and it's just like blows up. And then
really? Wow.
One of my, the Berklee Indian Ensemble owns like, I think over 60% of Berklee's YouTube channel views.
That's outrageous.
Because of those videos. It's absurd. And then my favorite project was a pianist called Tigran Hamasyan. He's from... Yeah, you know.
Bananas,
Insane. And we got to do his first like residency at Berklee. We got to be part of.
Oh,
and
incredible.
that was why. And we were obsessed with him. Like our generation of Berklee was just, everyone knew Tigran. Everyone was into his music. You would hear him in the halls, and then he finally did residency. So it was like people piling up to be part of that, and it was iconic.
Outrageous. Evan Marion's playing for him, I think, at the minute.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he did that album with him.
Yeah, super cool. Okay, you ready? The ugly. I was just reading these through. They're not so ugly actually. They're not that ugly.
I really want ChatGPT to have misunderstood you and actually ask about like, is the school beautiful? Where are like the ugly parts?
Yeah, from an architectural perspective, which are the ugliest parts of Berklee? Okay, number one, Berklee is famously expensive. Do you think it was worth the cost? How expensive is it?
It's gone up drastically since I was there. They raised their tuition like by almost $2,000 or like somewhere between $1,000 to $2,000 a year.
Shall I ask GPT how much it is?
And I want to say it's now somewhere in the mid $50K per year.
How much is Berklee per year? Let's have a look.
It's going to be painful.
Searching the web. Oof, 77,000.
Oh my God. But that's with housing and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. It goes on to say this estimate includes tuition fees, which is approximately 48K a year, room and board, approximately 19,000 a year, and then books and supplies. Yeah. So all in 77, but on its own, 48,000. Yeah. Famously expensive. Do you think it was worth the cost?
Two things. Personally speaking, I don't think it's worth going if you don't have a significant scholarship. It's just a lot of money that you're putting yourself or your parents into debt into. So it's a lot. But they do give out like pretty substantial scholarships. It's just
Yeah. Did you get a scholarship?
Yeah, definitely. There was no way my parents were going to put two kids through Berklee.
We
were not both on scholarships. I was on a really good scholarship too. So a lot of that, like I don't have any Berklee student loans that I have to pay off. Which is,
I've got like a super, I just want to inject because I'll forget it otherwise. A friend of mine, I'm not going to mention who he is or who he wrote to, but he was a sax player. He wrote to a famous, the guy I'm talking about is from the UK, a friend of mine. He wrote to a famous UK like pop rock star that was huge in the 80s and 90s. So kind of was at the peak, and literally a handwritten note, not an email, handwritten note. And in it, he was like, hey, I've taken up the sax, and he literally not been playing that long, maybe like a year or so. I've taken up the sax, yada, 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 and pitched him on, and he said, I'd really love to go to Berklee, but I can't. I've not got the funds to do that. So I'm just reaching out to some people that might be able to help out. And the person that he wrote to, that he's still never met to this day, paid for him to go to Berklee.
What?
Yeah.
You would never have the guts to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. All 3 or 4 years, or however long you went for the whole thing. Yeah.
That's
cool, right?
Man, kudos. That's badass.
Yeah.
The second thing is Berklee is so gigantic. It is not Berklee's fault if it's not worth it. Like, you can make it worth it for you even if you're spending the 50 to 70K.
And is it 3 or 4 years?
A year.
Is it 3 or 4 years?
If you're coming in with no prior, like, education in music, and you don't, like, and you haven't tested out of anything, it is 4 years.
4
and
years.
Depending on your major, it might even be longer than that. Because, like, I think if you do music therapy and stuff like that, you have to do internships and a whole bunch of things that make.
So it's like potentially like 250 grand. It's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot of cheese. But Berklee is, so it's what you make it.
Yeah.
So it is very easy to go through Berklee and get nothing from it because they're not going to shove it in your face necessarily. And it is very easy to go through Berklee and get your money's worth or more.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Strange, isn't it? Like when, for whatever reason, like when I say that 250 grand, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of money to invest in yourself. When I was thinking about 150 grand, I don't know what the difference is. It's obviously like my sort of like biases or whatever. But I was thinking, invest in $150,000 in the rest of your life doesn't actually sound that bad to me. I'm like, you know,
but
as
when
long
it's
as you're
music,
yeah, but if it's like if you're gonna do some, I know what I know the counter argument, but like I don't know, it feels I would do that. I'd take that bet, but maybe that's because I'd take the bet on me.
the reason I think it is really risky is because of the field. Like paying that much for a medical degree or a law degree, that money's gonna come back.
It might not. There
The
might not be a
chances
guaranteed
of it coming
job.
back
Yeah.
when you do Berklee or any sort of music education is so much slimmer.
Yeah.
But I mean, because it's a lottery, and in the end, it's basically a lottery. You have to be in the right place at the right time in order to make sure that you've kind of made it, or there's just countless hours of work. And I know a lot of people who put in countless hours of work all their lives, who are still not where they wanted to be, and are still in debt, and are still like. It's a tricky one. It's a gutsy decision.
Yeah.
So
let us know what you think in the comments. Is it? Yeah. And I don't want any like comments to be like, you know, no comments that are like one sentence. Like if you're going to comment on this one, like maybe just sort of like take the time to write sort of like a few sentences or a few paragraphs to sort of like, because I struggle with it. I do actually. I struggle with because I do think that people shouldn't. I don't have like a massive thing against like people having to invest in their future and doing that before they. But at the same time, I also agree with you that music's kind of a weird field. I feel like some smart person needs to kind of like give me their take on it, and then I'll be like, yeah, that's that guy. I agree with this.
So, how would you have been at like 18 though? Would you have had that same mindset?
I was amazing.
Because that's the problem. Because you don't realize how much you're investing and how much work you actually need to be putting in to make this worth it until after.
So is your point that you could accidentally float through those 4 years and be like, yes, oh,
100%.
Shit, I just floated through.
There's definitely 1 or 2 years where I was like, I should have done more. Oh well.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Well, this next one is kind of linked as well. It says, do you feel like Berklee overpromises on career prospects?
Yes.
I guess that we've just covered that one off, right? I know. And just, but maybe this is something that all music colleges suffer from, you know, because they kind of have to make the numbers. They've got to sell you on the dream to get you through the door, and ultimately it comes down to
guarantee.
There's no guarantee. It comes down to the student and putting the work in. So maybe they overpromise. Maybe they don't overpromise, but they don't. It doesn't have like a sub context or sub headline of, oh, by the way, you're going to need to really work like your arse off to make this happen.
I mean, we have to remember it's an institution.
Yeah.
Like, in order for them to, I think they might even technically considered non-profit. I don't know if that's true. But they need money to function. They have a huge city campus. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people are at Berklee without a scholarship
Yeah.
for one reason, for Berklee to survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So their acceptance rate is lower than it should be. I say that
yeah.
frustrated.
I've heard that like over the years as well.
Okay, so I love YouTube. You probably love YouTube. But let's be honest. It's not the best platform for in-depth teaching. Enter the SBL Academy. At SBL, we break down the base with a curriculum-driven approach that spans from complete beginner level to super advanced. We also cover all kinds of genres, skills, and techniques, all brought to you by world-class bass instructors. And best of all, you can get started today for free at trysbl.com.
So next one, is there a certain elitism or competitiveness at Berklee that made it hard for you to enjoy?
No. That being said, I wouldn't confidently be able to say that the crew that I was running with didn't make it hard for someone else to enjoy. Because
Got
again,
it.
jazz holes, judgmental sons of bitches. Like a lot of that.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot of
so you
looking
just
down on
weren't
other
touched
people.
by it, basically. You just weren't in the
No.
in the bubble.
I mean, we felt so great doing all of our time signatures. Everyone else was beneath us. Scott.
Oh yeah.
All these 4/4 bitches.
ting 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 ting.
So I definitely wasn't affected by that. Now, in hindsight, there's a lot of things I wish I would have done. And a lot of things where I'm like, oh man, that guy who I thought was basic was actually doing a really good job investing a lot of time into doing what is actually going to make him money later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, it's kind of obvious. I'll read it, but yeah, it's kind of obvious. Have you met musicians who are just as talented but didn't go to music school?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, you.
Here's one. Did you meet musicians that were at the top of their game in Berklee and left because they just had too many opportunities and they had to just go do the thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's less of those these days because there's just too many.
Yeah.
But people, I think I probably know more people that leave because they just can't afford it, but they have enough opportunities to make it worth leaving as opposed to staying.
Yeah. Yannick went for like one semester, I think, or like 1 year or something.
He's
and
there
he
for a hot second, I think.
Yeah. I think that he went
Yeah.
for that 1 year and then moved down to New York.
Mm-hmm.
Last one. Oh, I think I went to... Oh no, I jumped into the ugly. We're in the ugly section. I'm going to have to go back
Oh,
to
so
the
the
bad
worst is
anyway.
over.
Yeah. The last one. If you could go back in time, would you still choose to attend Berklee?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think that would be a yes. I don't know. I think you would. It seems like you had a great experience. You met some incredible
would.
people.
If I could have the brain that I have now, I would, and I would do it very differently.
You just do it differently. How so? What would you do differently?
I would invest more time in myself. I would push certain things. I spent a lot of time at Berklee trying to hide that I was a singer.
Which is outrageous because you're a great singer.
Thank you.
Why did you do that? I don't get it.
Because I didn't want to be... I wanted to be focusing on bass. I didn't want... There's like a weird hang-up that I have that vocalists... I don't know. They get the spotlight, but then they're just in the spotlight because it's a solo instrument a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I didn't want that. I wanted to work for it to be in the spotlight. And bass is the best instrument to do that because you're always in the background. So, yeah, eventually I came to regret it. I was like, oh man, I probably could have done both equally.
Yeah, like was there not a moment where, do you know when you actually started singing, were your friends like, what the
100%
like,
all
what
the
is
time.
going on?
And I would do projects for them. Like they would need a vocalist and I would do that. But I never kind of wanted to do like the Berklee large stage pop shows where I'm like the lead singer. I didn't want to do that.
Got it.
Now in hindsight, I probably would change that. Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. Who's this? With the Warwick 6-string.
Such a good bass.
This is a great track, though. Did you
I am
write
very
this?
proud of that track. I did all of that. Arranging large ensemble. Yeah. I didn't mix it though, thank God. In 4/4.
Come on, Sharon.
Inside our own fears, with all of these lame excuses. Stop blaming everyone around you for how you feel.
Do you know, like, is anybody with me? Please let me know in the comments if you just want to give Sharon a good wrap around the noggin for not singing more. Like, Sharon, what are you doing? Like,
I'm working on it. I have come to the realization that was a big mistake and I need to come around. Don't worry. It's coming.
outrageous. And there's a video of you singing on the interwebs when you're about 11 years old or something, 8 years
dear
old or something.
God.
I'm not going to show it. I'm going to save it. I can't put it all out there at once. I can't put it, but it's coming.
I wake up every morning like, is this the day Scott remembers and posts this video on social media?
Oh, dude, I've bookmarked it. And I am absolutely telling the truth. It's bookmarked. It's just ready to go.
I was at a show 2 nights ago because Ian was in town. He was playing here in Seattle.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out in the green room. I was there shooting the whole show.
Oh, incredible.
And I was in the green room with him, and he was like, Eric, you have to see this video of Sharon playing the bass and singing when she was 11. And he makes Eric Hutchinson listen to this song. Eric had a great time because it's freaking hilarious. And then the drummer walks in. We had just finished the clip. And he's like, Zach, you have to watch. And then we watched it a second time. I was like, oh my God, this clip is going to make its rounds.
Were you like,
My
can we
mom
not
is
just
gonna
like
be so
listen to me
happy."
just singing a few years ago instead? Like, I've improved.
I will say, I used to be very embarrassed of that clip, and it's no longer the case. Now when I look at it, I'm like, what a cute little badass. That is adorable.
It's awesome.
And
I got
actually
my-
pretty impressive.
Yeah, I got my kids to watch it as well.
so sweet.
It's best. The best thing as well is like you're not stopping. You just keep going.
Just keep going.
I'm going. Anyway, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, what happened is I did the good and then I jumped to the ugly. So we're going to do the good, the ugly, then the bad. The bad ones are really cool as well. Okay, so what's something about Berklee that people don't talk about enough?
Ooh, like in a bad sense.
Yeah.
I'll go back to it's an institution, and they'll treat their students like that as well occasionally. Like, they're not very helpful in terms of helping you in their career. Like that'll be individual to teachers.
Yeah.
You have to like build a relationship with a teacher who can then get you like more stuff. It's very rare that Berklee as an institution is going to push you unless there was some artist that came through and saw someone and then they're like, yeah, we love this guy, totally love this guy. And then they put, Berklee definitely has that vibe. It's an institution. It is a little bit out for itself.
Got it.
But also, as someone who now works for like, a music thing, you kind of, a business has to run. So like, I understand it. I understand it, but also as a student, it sucks.
Yeah. Next one, how challenging was the coursework? And did it prepare you for a real music career?
I would say yes. Maybe a little too much. In
What,
the
too
real world,
challenging?
no, it was. If you want it, it's not going to be hard to necessarily grasp it. And there's ways to make sure that you, like, there's a lot of office hours that you can attend in order to make sure that you can actually understand the material. I wouldn't say it's too hard, but I would say that it is very useful. Like, if you do take what you can get from Berklee, it is 100% going to prepare you for the real world, but a little too well. So, like, they'll make you handwrite charts for the first year at Berklee.
Got it.
Like, with a ruler, and, like, everything has to be straight. And I'm like, in the real world, that's definitely not. If you're getting a chart, it is not nicely, neatly written, or it's on a computer. At which point it's nicely neat. But half of us aren't getting charts to begin with. Like, a lot of it is kind of like romanticized.
Yeah.
But at least it is spitting out 1,200 students a year that know how to write a chart nicely. So I guess that's good.
What's the volume like of work? You know, like, obviously, like, apart from you need to get good on your instrument, what's the volume of work like? Is it challenging? Is it easy? Is it like a few hours a week? Like, what is it?
If it can be any of those things. It's, again, what you make it. If you work hard, the workload's going to be gigantic. If you don't work hard and you're just there for the college experience,
It's going to be fine. Yeah,
it's super easy.
You can
Yeah.
kind of just rock through. Yeah.
But, like, a lot of us would do classes in the day, and then studios open around 5 p.m., and then you start doing sessions, or you have a gig, or you do both, session, gig. And then most of the studio time that is not taken up by classes, obviously, so there's only a limited amount of studios. And during the day, those are booked by actual classes that
Got it.
teachers require and then the students are in there with the teachers. And then at 5 p.m., they all open up to be booked the day before at a certain time. I can't remember what day, but at that time, if you walk through Berklee, like 3 minutes before, you just see everyone at the laptop ready to, like, book.
Really?
Because
Just,
it's
like,
first come, first serve.
crazy.
It's carnage. And then if you get the room, you're just like, guys, I got the room, be there and there, blah, blah, blah. And it is open until, I want to say, like 7 or 8 a.m. the next day. So
Wow. So you could just
you
go
get
all the
called
way
in.
through the night.
I would have sessions. So, like, I'll do, like, a 5 p.m. session with someone because they somehow got the 5 p.m. slot, which is, like, gold.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. And then go to a gig or have a gig or whatnot, and then have nothing to do for 2 or 3 hours because the studio that they managed to get was a 3 a.m. slot.
What?
And then, obviously, if you live off campus, which is what I did my entire time there, you have no way of getting to campus other than Uber at 3 a.m. So either you just stay at Berklee and you're in the same clothes for 3 days. 100% happened multiple times.
That'd be my
No
move.
showers.
Yeah.
Like, and then show up to that session at 2 or 3 a.m. and you're just there. And then you'll have, if you come in at like 7 a.m., you'll just have a bunch of students knocked out in the 150 lobby, like, waiting for their 9 a.m. because they just had a bunch of sessions. Like,
This is the dream, dude. Like,
it is.
that's
It
my
was-
vibe.
it is.
That sounds incredible.
It is. It's a very cool experience. I will say that after that, I became a morning person and a not evening person. I feel like I used up all of my overnight slots of life
Yeah.
at Berklee.
All
And then I
in one
graduated
go.
and I was like, oh, look, it's 9 p.m. It's time for bed.
Yeah. All in one go.
Yeah.
Incredible. This is a great question, actually, and it also, I guess, sort of like, you know, the same question could be asked as with many different music colleges. Did you feel there was enough focus on career development, or was it too academic?
This isn't bad. First of all, these are not bad.
They're not bad. These are fair.
Good
I would
questions.
say fair questions.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
There is effort, but the music business is such a hard thing to teach. And it's very, like, a lot of institutions teach it institutions teach it very outdated. And I can't speak for how it is now. Maybe they've grown past it. But when I was there, social media was already a thing.
Yeah.
And they did not acknowledge that at all. Like,
so there was no class where they were like, listen up, this is how you do social media. This is why it's important. This is how to grow a following. This is why you would want to do that. This is how you leverage that. No.
So the class existed. And there's like 2 or 3 of them that are on the curriculum that most people have to take.
Yeah.
And it was all website. You have to have a website. Oh. Don't put your Instagram. That's not profesh. Like, website. Make sure you have your music on SoundCloud. So it's a lot of, when I was there, it was a lot of bad advice. But
so just
I
like
was also
outdated.
There,
yeah.
But I was also there at kind of a weird cusp of the online, like the interwebs.
Yeah.
Like, COVID was a complete toss over where social media just became like game. And I was like, I graduated 2.5 years maybe before COVID. So it was just like, it got kind of, you started having a bunch of maybe influencer people that are starting to attend Berklee and they have like a following, but it wasn't the norm yet. Whereas now, if you go through Berklee, there's just, half of the students there have like 200,000 followers on their production thing, and like, so it's a different game now. So I hope they've adjusted. It would be really funny if all of those students now have to attend that class and they're like, make sure you have a website. That'd be really funny. But
amazing. Yeah. Okay, fun and controversial, and then we'll call it. What's the biggest? I was thinking about this one. I can't think of anything I've heard. But what's the biggest myth about Berklee students? Oh, I've got one actually. You go first.
I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this. They're not all amazing.
Yeah,
in
that's
fact,
what mine
I'd say
was
the
gonna be.
majority of them are not great. But it sucks because I'm shooting myself in the foot. Just because you went to Berklee does not make you a good musician.
Yeah. My a friend of mine went to Berklee and and like in my mind, I just thought he was going to come back an absolute badass, like just like like ripping it up. And the reality was he was just not very good. And I love him. He probably knows who he is if he's listening to this, but he just was. And he would say the same. Just let me sort of like just say that out loud. He would joke about it. He would be like, "Whoa, I went for he did 3 years," and he was like, "And I'm still shit."
I definitely feel like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So that's the biggest myth. Any crazy or funny stories from your time at Berklee?
Ooh. Wow. I don't know. Probably all of those those weird 3 a.m. nights.
Yeah.
I think I had my first semester at Berklee. I need a little backstory. Some of the people on the podcast who listen to the podcast might already know this story because it's come up before with Ian. My dad, when he went to Berklee, he was at Berklee at the same time Dream Theater was at Berklee.
Oh, nice.
So he hates Dream Theater because he's a jazz saxophonist that somehow had to be in the ensemble room. Yes, I know he doesn't watch the podcast, so yes.
We say it with love.
We do. There's room for growth. They would all have their not assigned, but their favorite ensemble rooms that they would practice in, and his unfortunately was the one next to Dream Theaters. Incredible. So every morning at 6 a.m. back in the day when you could book ensemble rooms that early, he would go in and practice his scales, or he'd ask his bandmates to come in, and then they would just be in the other room going hard on Dream Theater stuff, and they couldn't hear themselves, and it was just really annoying. So he hates Dream Theater for a completely valid reason.
Yeah.
It's not I hate their music. He respects them.
Yeah.
They're badass musicians. He hates them because he couldn't practice when they were in the rooms.
You should absolutely buy him a Dream Theater t-shirt for his next birthday.
Wait. So I get to Berklee. I have this I think it's kind of funny why my dad hates Dream Theater, but I meet a bunch of people who are like, "Oh man, Dream Theater is my life." Because that's how Dream Theater fans are. And then one guy comes up to me this is like a week leading up to midterms. I'm at a party, just hanging out, and this guy is telling me about, man, my bassist just quit. I have a session next week, and we're doing the first half of Scenes from a Memory Part 2. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is. Everyone knows I don't listen to Dream Theater here. So I'm like, I don't know what that is. Is it hard? And he was like, yeah, man, it's such hard music, and no bassist is going to be able to like do this session because this guy dropped out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, challenge accepted. So I decide I'll do this. So I learned the first half of Scenes from a Memory Part 2. And I say that, and it was not that condensed of a process. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is this music? I was shedding all day long. And I had made the mistake of, this is my first semester, of completely overbooking myself. Not in like double booking terms. Like, I am a responsible person. That slot is taken. It's not.
But there was just no time to eat or sleep. Or learn.
I was so swamped. I accepted so many sessions. And I was just kind of juggling one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And a lot of them were thankfully easy sessions, but then there was this looming one full day session of just Dream Theater music. Yeah. And I was like struggling on my Warwick thumb to get this music together. It ended up working out. Am I proud of the product? I could have done better, but it's not bad. I mean, it's the first time playing Dream Theater.
Yeah.
And then it was just session after session after session. And then I got really sick all through Thanksgiving. So I missed my first Thanksgiving in Boston.
No
Or
way.
I guess my first Thanksgiving in the United States in general. Because I was
of
just
Dream Theater.
fucking Dream Theater.
Your dad was right. God damn.
But then we released a video of that session.
Yeah.
Like, they filmed everything. And this is a really sweet end to the story. And I posted it on Facebook. And I was like, oh, guys, I did this thing with Dream Theater. And my dad shared it. And was like, my daughter at Berklee did a
amazing.
thing covering Dream Theater. And we were all like, a moment of growth.
A moment of growth. Incredible.
It was an iconic moment to see my dad share Dream Theater content.
Incredible. You should still get him the t-shirt. Okay, just a couple more. If someone is thinking about going to Berklee, what is the one thing they must know?
You can test out of a lot of classes. So all of the core classes, what they call them in Berklee, MAT, which is Harmony 1, used to be Harmony 1. Harmony 2, 3, 4, ear training 1 through 4, I think arranging 1 and 2, tonal harmony, what's the other one? Oh my God. All of the like classical music theory that you need to know in order to get through like core music theory you can test out of. So if you can either do community college or do just private lessons with someone who can teach you all these things, do that, because then you can save 2 years on tuition. And you can get to Berklee and straight focus on what you want to do. Also, it's not the usual like American college experience where you get to college and then figure out what you want to do. I would say get to Berklee sort of knowing what you want to do. Do you want to do songwriting? If so, I don't know if you really need to go to Berklee. I think the education is better in the world, but sure, do the songwriting degree. Or you could do, like, know that you want to be an engineer, know that you want to focus on performance, and then start digging in early, because you'll get way more from Berklee if you skip that stuff and go straight for kind of the meatier stuff that Berklee has.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. You can save a lot of money by not attending the full
thing, yeah. Do you think that going to somewhere like Berklee gives a certain amount of accountability? Do you know, like to your comment where you were saying you weren't sure whether that there's a need for a songwriting degree, why don't you just go out there and do it on your own? Do you think there's a certain amount of like accountability or forcing functions that might come into play just because you're there and it's just, well, you're kind of on the course, you need to do it, or not?
I mean, I'm a huge advocate for, if you're at Berklee, technically take what you can get that you don't think you could get somewhere else. So like when I went, my dad was like, you have to be a performance major. And I'm like, but I've been performing all of my life already. And they actually have like performance classes where you come in and they're like, straighten your back and this is how you have to present. And I'm like, I've been doing this
Do you
since
know
I was
you've got
6. I
Berklee
don't
voice,
need to
by the way? Whenever you,
it's like a mustache and a
yeah. I'd love it if there was somebody at Berklee that actually spoke like that.
There probably is. You 100% will find someone who spoke like that. But if you can go there and not do what you already are doing.
Yeah.
So like I then halfway through I switched my major from performance to contemporary writing and production because I was like, there's all these studios, there's incredible teachers here that are going to help me like learn to produce, learn how to use DAWs, learn how to use consoles and like crazy things. And I focused on that entirely and I dropped, and it's not that I then didn't perform anymore. You just have to know the right people and put yourself out there in order to perform. You don't have to be a performance major to perform at Berklee. The only thing that you're going to get as a performance major in addition is a senior recital, which you don't get if you're any other major.
Got it.
Because you don't have to, because that's your final exam as a performer is a senior recital. If you have
gotta
anything
perform.
else,
Yeah.
you have other final exams. But you can still book one of their performance halls every single semester and put on your own show or join other people's shows to perform. You just have to, it's like a lot of legwork for you to do, but then you gain twice because you're still doing performances with people, but you're actually getting an education in electronic production, contemporary writing and production, or engineering or something. I just think that that's money really well spent because as a musician, really there's no harm in knowing how to do any of those
You're a
things.
responsible adult. Do you know when you were just like talking then, in my mind, I was thinking I'd absolutely just be a performance major because that means I'd have to do less work. Like legit, as he was, I was like that. Wow, that sounds like a lot of work. I think I'd do performance.
Oh my God, Scott. No.
One and
No.
done. You know, do the final performance. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong, but yeah. Like, is it less work if you can pull it off doing the performance? Is it less work because that final exam is just the performance?
No, because there's a lot of stipulations that come with the performance that you wouldn't get if you're not a performance major and you just book one of the halls. Like for instance, if I'm a bass performance major,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want Steve Bailey and Victor Wooten judging my senior recital.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure that comes with that. You have to hit certain, I don't remember what exactly it is, but you have to hit certain targets with your senior recital that you don't have to do if you're not a performance major. So in a lot of things, I always found the performance major to be kind of limiting for performance myself.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
But it is suitable to those who want that. But it's just, I was like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I want to get my money's worth of tech.
I think you did right. Last one. If Berklee had a most likely to succeed yearbook, who from your class or the people that you met in Berklee would have been in it? Who? Like one person?
God. I mean, I wasn't very close with him at Berklee, but I met him. Was Philip Chua. He's been on the channel.
Oh, yeah.
He played with Charlie Puth for a while, and he's an insane bassist. He was one of those guys who did it right. He played all of those like singer showcase, big ass shows, but as a bassist.
But as a bassist, yeah.
He didn't have the jazz hole energy.
Yeah.
Let me do pop music, and then he got the gig. So,
What's the like? It hasn't asked it here, but what's the process like for actually going to Berklee? If somebody wants to go to Berklee, like I don't know, like you go to their website, like what happens? Like what's the actual application like?
Man, this is literally.
And do you audition?
10 years
Is there
ago.
somebody sitting there like across the room from
Yes.
you? And
I did my Berklee audition literally 10 years ago, probably like a week or two ago. It was spring 2015. That's when I did my Berklee audition.
Yeah.
So we're at the decade mark. So I don't know if all of this is still up to date or whether I'm remembering it correctly. But stage one, go to their website and just do the start application thing. You have to fill out a bunch of stuff. Then you'll get requested to do two things, an audition and an interview. You can do those in different locations because Berklee flies around. They fly out people, tutors to go and like audition people.
Yeah, Danny Morris
various
does it, doesn't he?
locations.
Shout out to Danny.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so does the guy that I mentioned, Danny Leland Smith. He also goes out. And it's really cool. That being said, little tip. This is how it was. I don't know if it still is like this. There's pools of scholarship money that travel with these people. So like if you
In a
audition...
bag.
Yeah, literally. They're traveling in like a Mr. Beast level like cash sack.
Beast
No.
cash bag. Yeah.
There's just a limit to how much scholarship is given to, let's say if they do auditions at Leeds,
Yeah.
that team has a limit of how much scholarship they can give out to those
Got it.
students. So like literally if a student walks in, great, this much scholarship. I don't know if that's like how it works, but, and then the last guy walks in and he's actually the best.
We're out.
But they're out of
no
money.
more scholarship. Yeah.
And I don't know if they actually like assign it in like row by row. Probably not. But
Yeah.
basically, if there's 7 students and there's this much money, it has to be distributed amongst those 7. They can't like there's not like there's a limit to the madness.
Yeah.
Whereas if you audition in Boston, either the pool is just gigantic or there is no pool. I don't know what it is, but the strategy to get a higher scholarship is to actually fly out and audition in Boston. And someone told me that.
Is that what you did?
It is what I did. I flew out. I also had an audition at Manhattan School of Music the week before in New York. And that is an only in-person in New York
Wow.
audition. So it actually made sense for me to do Berklee in
Yeah.
person as well because I was
Yeah.
already stateside. So I did do that. And I will say it worked out great for me. So
Oh, wicked. I feel like that's like
That-
super inside information.
I don't know if it still works like that because it's no longer the same people running the scholarship department. So I don't know if that's still a thing, but it was back in the day, and I don't think there's any harm in checking out the campus
Yeah.
as you go out there anyway. Plus, my sister was already at Berklee at that time, Lydia.
Shout out to Lydia. Yeah.
Shout out to Lydia. So I had a place to crash. I had friends already. She was like, "Hey, meet my friends," and I was like, "Great."
That must
Met
have been
Steve
so
Bailey.
Cool. Yeah.
Started arguing with him on my first day. It was great.
About anything specific.
He comes in with this like really angry energy, and he does this on purpose to kind of like test you. And he came and was like, "What are you doing here? Are you a student here?" I was like, "No, but I will be." And he was like, "Are you sure you're gonna get in?" I'm like, "Definitely." He was like, "I like the attitude," and I'm like, "Yeah." And that was like our first conversation.
Yeah.
And then it took off from there. But he comes in with this like really like challenging energy, and it's really cool.
Yeah, mega. Shout out to Steve. Shout out to Steve. Thank you, Steve. Should we call it? Go.
Do you want to know the audition? Do you want to know the audition process? I don't know
Yeah.
if it's,
Go for
different.
it. Yeah. I think it'd be helpful.
There's like a sight reading portion, so you need to know how to read. If you're, I mean, you don't have to. They're not going to be like failed and you're not accepted, but
Yeah.
it'll be beneficial if you know how to read on your instrument. And then there's a comping segment. You have to learn how to if you're a bassist or a guitarist or a pianist, they'll give you slash marks and chords, and
Just
you have to
play along
comp
with the
through
chord
walking
chart.
bass line
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And then you come in with I think 2 prepared songs, and they can be whatever you want it to
And
be.
what did you do?
I did an
Portrait of
original.
Tracy. What did you do?
I did one original.
Yeah.
So I came in with my own produced track,
Yeah.
and then played my 6-string Warwick and sang,
Oh, amazing.
and took a bass solo in the middle, which is probably like the last bass solo.
Come
I
on,
took
no
in
wonder you got a
history.
scholarship.
And then
Six-string
my second
singing.
song. My second song was Teen Town.
I was going to say Teen Town, yeah. Either Teen Town or Portrait of Tracy. I think that those are the two, aren't they? Yeah.
It was a very basic pitch. But it got me my scholarship and it worked. And then you go, once you finish that audition thing, you go to a different room and you have an interview with like one of their administrators.
Yeah.
And they just kind of ask you, like, your passion for music and how did you get into music? What is your history of music? Yada, yada, yada. I don't know what the point of that interview is. I
Probably
still
so
don't
you
know.
can be like, look, my entire family came to Berklee. I am going to be an outsider. I'll be cast in the street if you don't give me a full scholarship. And then give them
Or
the
a legacy
puppy dog eyes.
scholarship.
Yeah.
They don't give out legacy scholarships, which is really messed up.
What's the legacy? Oh, legacy based
It's like
off of
if
like,
you're
yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, you're part of this line of Berklee people.
Yeah,
Here,
yeah,
have
yeah.
a. They don't. They
The
don't do that
lineage.
in case, in case you were hoping, they don't.
Mega. Well, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing, Sharon. It's been awesome.
Do you still want to go to Berklee now? After knowing all of this?
I don't think I would have done well, actually, if I'd gone to... So I didn't go to any music school. I've had sort of like bits here and there, but I never went to any music school. But I did live in a house full of musicians for like a couple of years. And it was, I think, my most unproductive time as a musician was living with other musicians. I think it's like a personal thing. It's something to do with me. I don't know what it is. Maybe...
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird, right? So I did want to go to Berklee until I lived with musicians, and I had this realization that it might not have been good for me. I think that I need, like, for me specifically, I need an insular environment where I'm just on my own, just in my own space, do my own shit.
It's fair.
And if there's other things going around me, it's just like a huge distraction. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm just like a magpie. I'm just like, oh, shiny object, you know. And
I think you would have done fine. I think you would have
maybe,
thrived.
yeah. I would have liked to give it a try. It would have been great. Anyway, guys, let us know in the comments. One thing. Do you want Sharon singing more on the channel?
Oh.
That's it. That's all I want to know.
Hey, man, they shot themselves in the foot when nobody watched that Paul McCartney video that I did on singing and playing.
Oh, I
still hold a
know. I know. Let's unearth that video. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. Sharon, thanks for being on. Take it easy. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you for having me.